are back with yet another edition of the Oh No Wrestling Podcast. My name is Owen. I am your Shark Break Kid, who's been sharting a lot this week, apparently. Along with me tonight, it's my good buddy Duncan, the king of bong style.
Yeah.
You're supposed to talk there. You're supposed to talk
there.
No.
I was letting the bong.
Oh, okay. You're letting the bong simmer.
To do.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
And question me.
And back with us for the first time in a couple of weeks. It's good to have him back. It's our modern day Maharaja. Ladies and gentlemen, Matthew is with us again. Woo, baby. Woo. How you doing, Matthew?
Haven't been sharting all week, but one of my dogs has had the run, so I don't know. She's on a chicken and rice diet, so maybe you need to try that.
Maybe I do. I was saying it more in the case of my boy, the HBK, just in the fact that I've been no selling my sharts lately. I've been no selling all of them.
Sharts, no selling the punts.
Your sharts.
Yeah.
No selling the shark, which means you're just shitting your pants and rolling with it.
Yeah. I love that. Someone needs to add that to the Urban Dictionary.
I like it.
And Duncan's definition is that.
Boys, it's good to be back. There's plenty for us to discuss this week, as especially we have two shows that we have to do predictions for this evening. One, of course, being this weekend's Takeover, and the other, SummerSlam. For the first time in the Thunderdome. I think I need
two men enter.
The
Thunderdome. One man leaves.
It's it's an interesting name they came up with for it. I kind of dig the look of everything I'm seeing behind the scenes, like on Twitter, and kind of just even.
I haven't seen anything.
Even Kevin Dunn's.
Oh man, there's a video that leaked.
Yeah.
There's a video that leaked of them installing it and doing the load in and Amway, and I'm just like, man,
this might be cool.
It looks really fucking cool.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says.
I'm looking this up.
Yeah, it's worth the look.
From somebody who has worked in the production standpoint, just looking at all the shit that they're doing, I'm just like, oh, you're just kind of gonna be like, let's do a little bit of everything. What's available in the warehouse? Oh, legitimately everything? Bring it all.
Yep. All the trusses, all the screens, everything that they've got, they're putting in place somewhere, it seems like. Hey, we got lasers, bring them all. Fuck it. Like, that's...
Well, they already added so many fucking lasers to SmackDown and such. Like,
yeah.
I couldn't believe they're adding more, but I will believe it.
It'll be better in Amway than it'll be in the PC.
You'll get a sense of them more for sure.
It definitely will be. I remember when SmackDown went to Fox, even when there were fans. I remember like, holy shit, that's a lot of lasers. I mean, you guys are obviously in production, have been in production for a long time. I also like played in bands and toured and, worked with a lot of groups that have a lot of lasers. I hired lasers for a lot of things. Mm-hmm. But I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of lasers. I can only imagine.
A lot of lasers.
I bet I know a couple of the laser guys that are on some of these calls.
Wouldn't be surprised.
And I also know that the type of lasers that they're probably using for this type of stuff are not cheap. Like these are it takes a certain type of scanning to do what they do, especially with crowds and all that type of thing. I mean, yes, they're not having live crowds, but they still have to be safe with eye lines. They still have to be safe with all that type of stuff because, like, there's strict guidelines on these types of things. And the types of lasers that they're using are they're $100,000 laser. Like that's what they're using for these types of things. Like at the bare minimum, it's not your local club got a little laser thingy.
It's not a club. It's not a club DJ fucking Guitar Center laser rig. Matthew, did you find the video that we were talking about?
I'm not looking at the video. I'm looking at the pictures, but yeah, the lasers are nothing. My friend Saxton used to do lights for some really big groups. And when he did it at Red Rocks, they had to get air clearance with the lasers that they have because of the planes that are flying over and such, and like making sure that they're not like reaching a certain altitude, like even with the weather and like all that sort of shit.
Here's something that's scary to everyone that's listening, and you and Duncan, Matthew, is that I'm actually laser qualified, and I
know you're laser qualified.
I have the lowest level of laser qualifications.
This is
got a
also
low level laser eye.
Low level laser, man.
Maybe that's your finisher.
That is a good name, low level laser.
Low level laser.
That's a good
finisher. This is also a certification from the same company that put me in charge of that same show. Mm-hmm. So I mean, what can you really say about that? These
are facts. These are all facts. And actually let me and Duncan do things that were incredibly dangerous together, which is probably never a good idea. But
no, definitely nothing about it. But we did talk a lot about wrestling, like we're gonna do tonight.
Absolutely.
We drove everybody else fucking crazy.
So getting into the Thunderdome, I have two things. One, I think it's awesome that they're actually like putting a shit ton of production into something. I mean, I think we talked about it when they were doing In Your House. That like, all right, I'm gonna pause that video there. I found it, but basically, I'm gonna like I know that we were like, oh, it's cool. They're doing like a set and things like that. It's something that I've always wanted them to bring back. It's something from my childhood that I always liked. I hated that they've always used.
Oh, I think a lot of the wrestling community has been very, vocal about it would be nice to have custom sets again for pay-per-views and even when they made the move to SmackDown this time around. I mean, of course, we all remember the Fist. But even this
move, doesn't love a good fisting?
Who doesn't love a good fisting? But even this move to SmackDown, it was nice when it first started that they did make it look different, that there was a different set than Raw, and the two brands did kind of have like, if you remember, they were doing like the half pipey thing for Raw, right? Like the kind of big LED half pipe screen, and then SmackDown's looked different where it had those like truss arches and things coming out like. So it was, I feel like they went back on that quicker than I expected them to, but
they did go back on that quicker. I think maybe the pandemic had something to do with that. I also will say on Raw, my favorite part of that set is KO like parkouring off of that. But also I never liked the fucking side entrance. I never like a side entrance or something. Like, I feel like in wrestling, you want it front, center, like you're gonna fucking pop, and then but I like what they're doing, and I'm like looking at this video and it looks fucking nuts. Insane amount of LEDs.
A lot of curved truss that goes up and then goes in, like they're literally making the Thunderdome.
It looks really fucking cool. I think they're gonna do really cool things. I hope they don't botch it with those like augmented reality graphics.
I've never been a fan of those.
I've never been a fan of those.
Asuka's always had one where it shows the masks and stuff.
Yeah, New Day has
one.
It's just kind of like, why? I mean, I get it, but like, we're not quite there. I mean, I guess we should be there. It's 2020, but I don't know. The
it just doesn't. It doesn't play to a live audience. That's the problem with those effects. Like it
doesn't
just
play to a live audience, and it just kind of looks cheesy.
It looks a little cheesy. It looks video game like to me whenever I see it. It looks like something that they would pop up on a cut scene of a video game or something. Like it doesn't which is fine to a degree. But I'm not 100% with it. I feel like it's.
Yeah, I just hope that doesn't happen. And the fact that you guys just brought up the fans, that was the second thing I was going to bring up. So being the fucking king of segues here, y'all tried to beat me to it. But I was wondering, did you guys try and register yourself into the Thunderdome?
I did it, but it was a little late, and they told me that
you were late.
Yeah, I was late.
Well, the thing was, I thought it was going on earlier, so like all day at work, like so like on Monday, like Monday night with Raw, I was like, I didn't watch Raw live, but you know, I
Never
caught up
did.
obviously. Yeah, I mean, afterwards. I mean, who watches Raw live nowadays?
Yeah, fucking gluttons for punishment is who watches, Raw
exactly.
live.
But I was aware, so I was like refreshing after Raw, like hoping it would pop up. Didn't pop up.
Oh, is that when it was?
Then well, no, and then it was like
I think it was before.
and then Tuesday it wasn't even on either. Like Tuesday morning at work, and all day I was fucking refresh, and then I kind of forgot about it. Got busy with this thing called life. And then yeah, like all of a sudden Thunderdome wasn't on the top of my list. And so then this morning I'm like, I should probably check back into that. And it's like, you're too late. And then I see all these reports from like 13 hours before. And it's like, oh, SmackDown Thunderdome goes out in record capacity. So I'm wondering, it said just SmackDown. So like, when are they doing the other one?
I think that they have already done SummerSlam. I think they've already done a couple of bigger dates, but I think it's going to be a per show basis so that you have a window to kind of register and get on there, that it's not necessarily like you're in. I think it has to be a per show basis. What my thought was like, oh, for sure they're going to charge money for this. And I was like, I blew it off when I heard about it. And I'm like, wait, it sounds like it's free.
Do you think Vince wants to see a dick pic as like the final step?
He's asking for it.
The vetting on this is going to be interesting, and I don't know.
That's what I'm getting at. It's going to be very interesting. Like the rules, I read through the terms, right? I read a lot of fucking contracts, but I read through that one. It was pretty fucking short. It covers a lot of things, but it is very fucking general. It's specific to certain things in regards to like wearing, but it's very general into that they can cut you basically at any point in what they want
for whatever they want.
They've put quote guidelines in their terms, but those guidelines, even though there are some like hard lines, most of it, at least the way I read it, like just seemed like, oh, okay, like this means that like anything like means that I like if I do one thing you don't like, you cut it, right? Yep. Then they have people on the wait list. One big thing was, Duncan, you would never make it through because it says smoking of any kind, whether on screen or it said,
vaping or whatever.
And vaping. It said even making the gesture. This is one of the specific parts in like their generalities. It said even making a gesture as if you're smoking or even seeing smoke.
So with this fantastic RVD 420.
I don't know how
homies.
I don't know how you're not cut out of this feed.
Right? Yeah,
man. It's because I snuck in under a puff of smoke. And I'm like in true like fucking dumb stoner fashion. I had no concept that any of this I knew what the Thunderdome was. I knew they were taking fans. I was just like, had no idea that it was already a thing that had happened.
I mean, it hasn't happened yet in like
practice,
but that people have signed up. Yeah, I guess is.
Do you guys think
I'm not in the mood to like? First of all, fuck off. Like, I don't know everything about it. I'm just like, I don't wanna.
I didn't know that it was gonna be like what we're doing now with like a live Zoom thing or anything. For me, I thought it was gonna actually be like, you record yourself as a GIF and like, hey, be like excited, be mad, and then they just kind of like copy and paste cut and paste it into like a video game or something.
The terms were like, your setup is on you. You have to have like internet access, camera, like all that stuff. And it said like, and like the terms even read through saying like, you know, like enthusiastic gestures encouraged, like, and things like that. And it was saying like certain things will not be and then you can't wear anything that is not related to that they don't approve, but which they then in parentheses say like should be WWE official merchandise. But if you're wearing something else, it can't be branded unless it's a WWE sponsor. So
they don't want any AEW shirts. They don't want any
definitely.
Bullet Club shirts.
They reserve the right to fucking cut everything.
But you could get away with that Progress shirt because Progress is on the network now.
That you got me. So.
Yeah. That would work. That's a nice shirt too. That's a real nice shirt.
I could probably not get away with our homie from Bad Street USA and the Rob Van Dam Zigzag Man shirt,
I don't know. I wonder about that.
I don't know.
I wonder about that. How serious they're gonna really take that, and how with that many people, how like I don't know.
You think they're not gonna have? You think they're not gonna have jabronis?
Of course they are.
They're gonna have jabronis, but they're gonna have people cutting those motherfuckers so quick.
Yep.
Like quick. Those feeds.
You're gonna have to you're gonna go like this, and that's gonna be it. Like before you even have the.
Yeah, talk about being a fucking moderator, the mod. You know, we've been talking about that. They've now done it. They're gonna have a million mods. They could eventually work that into a storyline because I know they're listening, so they probably will. Which leads me to, if this is somewhat of a success because they have multiple nights that they're doing this, so they can fine tune it, they can do quite a few things. So if this happens, I've heard that WWE might move out of the Performance Center for good. If that happens, what do you think they move to a mid-tier arena, and do you think they use something like this to, one, continue to gain interest and to do something different than AEW / other promotions?
I think it's
right now.
I think it serves a couple different arenas, if you will, and no pun intended. Actually,
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, I am this time. I think what it does is it gives it obviously a different look. We know that they have moved out of the Performance Center for at least until October was the last I heard. So we know that they're doing all Raw and pay-per-views, Raws, SmackDowns, and pay-per-views at the Amway Center in Orlando, which is a big arena, by the way. I mean, it's a basketball arena, really. Like it was built for the Magic.
It is.
So I mean, they play there a ton of times before, and I'm sure they'll play a ton of times there again. NXT, from what I've heard, will remain at Full Sail, and not go into the Thunderdome because, for reasons maybe involving NXT contracts they have with Full Sail, or even just to keep the products looking different. I think
probably a little bit of both. I can see the logic in all of that. I do think that there are probably arenas that they can justify going to with this type of setup. I'm sure they're not just building it so that it can exist purely in Orlando. This serves as the test as to, okay, hopefully we can get a few live fans in, even if it's like for, I don't know how big the Amway Center is. I want to say it's 20,000 or 18,000, somewhere in that basket. I think it's between 16 and 18. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, typical.
Is that as many people as you guys are killing a day down in Florida?
Yeah, it's
close.
Close. We wish it was more. Sometimes
we would be using the Amway Center as a morgue, but WWE decided to take it over, so we have to go across town to the UCF arena.
But there are things opening up. I mean, Florida is a bit of a joke. You make that joke, Matthew, but if there's a state that's going to allow people in to see a wrestling event in a arena, it will be Florida. And so I think they're banking on that a little bit. I think it even is advantageous for the fine folks over whoever own Amway, the Amway people, the DeVosses. It probably makes fuck them. It probably makes money for them, of course, that they wouldn't be getting. They're also excited about having fans back into the arenas, and maybe it's the slow rollout of that. They obviously couldn't do that at Full Sail or the Performance Center. So this is a chance to at least set up and start that process. That's what I think they're doing.
You know where they could do it, and I agree with you. But I think that if this doesn't work, there is going to be more this will sort of be your house show model now.
Yeah.
I think you can set up at, say, I don't know, the Lakeland Center, and set up something
maybe a
very
slightly
similar.
smaller version or something. Who knows?
Right.
We haven't seen it yet.
I think they're still, when they can, going to want to be in front of real fans in other arenas. But I also think that if this works, it's something that they will continue until they don't need to continue it anymore.
Yeah, I would.
And honestly, like,
that.
It could be a while before Amway has anybody who's really interested in bringing a show in.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I can see that. I'm also a little bit wondering, and I guess a little bit concerned, going back to the conversation about like the way that they have the setup and like the actual stage and presentation. So if they keep it at the Amway Center, they're putting a lot into this. Like, they're not like, are they going to change it like for Raw or SmackDown? If so, they are then, I think, going to choose either the Raw or SmackDown setup, and they're going to use for both. But then what do you then
one
do when
will
you're
be
doing...
blue and one will be red? But what are you talking about, man? Like, it's
that's
totally different.
But I'm saying the Thunderdome in and of itself, once it loses its mass appeal and like, oh, it's new, like, and something cool, and now I'm seeing it every week. Do they just go back? Or once it's become, oh, we know you can put on fucking, you already had good production, obviously. Like, your LED screen, the walls, even that ramp was fucking gigantic. It was amazing. It was like, you go live and see that LED wall, you're like, and the ramp, you're like, it's fucking amazing. Like, right? Production is on point. They have money. So now you see something like this. Now have they raised the bar where you're starting to think, oh, they should actually be doing this more often. They should be doing it, like, you know, and changing things up, you know, pandemic or not. They obviously have the means to. They're in Orlando. They're in Florida. They have all their fucking gear. Like you guys said it, like, oh, they brought all of their shit out of their fucking, like, warehouses, shipped it fucking down. So it's sitting there. They could do it. They have the time. They have the money. They have the people. It then also begs the question of Payback being like, what, a week later?
A week after.
And so with, and from what I've read, Payback being a week later is, one, an experiment, like on WWE's part. Two, possibly there's something that's going to happen at SummerSlam that requires an event like that to happen immediately following without any like major builds, you know, which would make sense. And I think that's, and I'm cool with them experimenting with all of this. Like, I like this part of what they're doing and everything that we're talking about. I will say, even with all these random questions I just raised that may not be addressed, or I think I forgot half of them, but I will say that what they're doing right now, I think, is a big step, and it's something different that has been kind of needed. It's breathing like this new little bit of life. At least they're trying something.
I can echo that.
Cool, I can
echo that for sure. I think it's smart that they are that they are taking some chances and doing some different things. You know, like that's what we wanted as fans, and so at least let us, you know, give them, like, we need to give them a chance with some of that as well.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I also think that this is a much better use of fan time and Zoom interaction than the fucking meet and greets that they're hawking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Do you think they're going to use Zoom for this Thunderdome?
I think they probably will.
What kind of enterprise account do you think they have with them?
I
don't know.
Think from what I've read, it's through a production company that is specializing, I think, on their own proprietary voice over IP, telecom communication type thing that's its own thing specifically designed for this. So I don't know that it'll be, I think you will have to download an app or go through a browser based thing that already exists with some other enterprise, I believe.
I think that's also what's happening with these $125 2-minute meet and greets.
Yeah, those are weird, man. That seems like, because $125 for a meet and greet even in person's tough. let alone.
Yes.
Guys, I'm just gonna float this out there. We could make Oh No Wrestling like the biggest thing ever.
Okay.
Let's hack that VoIP
Don't say that.
and then bring back the
Allegedly.
SmackDown hacker thing.
Mm.
And it turns out Oh No Wrestling was the fucking hackers all along. We made you think it was Mustafa Ali. We made you think it was all
us.
this. It was
Look
us,
at this.
motherfuckers.
Look at these three
three.
brains
What do you
of
think of
fucking
that?
computer savvy right here.
If you're watching on Twitch, I've already got the neon blue explosion transition. Oh, there we go. You'll see it. You'll see it. I'll do it one more time just for the people. Boom. And one more time. Boom.
Boom.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. See, what if that happened right there? What if that is what happened? Like literally, like in the middle of SmackDown when the Thunderdome, it's just all boom. Oh No Wrestling. I'm not saying it could happen. I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm just saying.
I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but I'm also not saying that you won't see us.
Yeah, I'm also saying that we'll be on one episode of the Thunderdome and never invited back. That's probably what.
Also, that's probably more likely.
Yeah, exactly.
That's typically what happens with us. We get invited on one thing and then we're never allowed to return.
This is accurate. Yeah, all these things are very, very true.
Matthew gets re-invited to things.
Oh, but not us.
We don't always.
I drink too much and you look like you.
This is true. And I walk in and I am me. And I'm just like, is it cool if I get high here? No?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's going to be unfortunate for one of us, and it's
because
not
I'm
me.
Canadian.
So at the
You're
top,
very polite.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on from the Thunderdome. I think we're all anxious to see it on Friday night and see what actually it looks like. I myself will be excited. I think that there might be a couple of places in Florida if they want to keep it here and they're not at the Amway. And by the way, who's to say that they don't extend that contract with the Amway Center? Like, if they're already set up here or set up there and, it doesn't look like things are going to open, it's in both companies' best interest to just continue the relationship and keep it moving forward. So I think that's a huge possibility. And like you said, Duncan, this might be something that they can kind of take, with them. I would almost be interested to see if they could do like a half and half crowd at some point. So where you have some like virtual and some, real, people as they, introduce audiences into the crowds just to see if like that can work. But hey, remains to be seen. We did very briefly, though, at the top of the show, I talked about the no-selling of Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton's punt kick, and RKO and punt kick on this week's Raw, which this was an interesting one to me because I saw the wrestling community blow up about it, and I wanted to be like, no, you're being a little too harsh. But then I watched it.
You're like, leave Grandpa Shawn.
Yeah.
And then you watched it.
But I'm mixed. I'm very mixed about my reaction to it, to be honest with you. I can see both sides of it. Did Shawn no-sell Randy Orton's, killer offense in a sense?
Which the punt was like banned for a while in WWE.
It was.
Yeah, but they brought it back.
Yeah,
they brought it back.
Yeah, they brought that back a while ago. But I'm weird about this because I think there might be more to it, and I think it might actually relate to the match at SummerSlam. I think that there's a possibility that somehow Shawn was no-selling it for a reason. And when I say no-selling it, he sold it. He just didn't sell it in the way that one would expect.
Punt would be.
Yeah, right.
He didn't sell it the way that everybody else sells it.
Correct.
Well, and he got an RKO right before.
Yeah. He should have probably, been out
he should
cold.
not have been getting up.
they should have cut before he got up. He should have been in that corner dazed, but the getting up was, I think, the biggest problem with it. I don't know that I hate it as much as most people do, but I am a fan of Shawn, and we all know that Shawn sells when he wants to sell, and he will oversell when he wants to sell, and then which can be
what good does it do to not sell that, like
to not sell that? No, I'm with you.
Or not even sell it just a little bit more. Like, not even make it but he made it just kind of look like, oh, I just took a B-level finisher and I had to act like it put me down, but not for long.
Feel like they might be... This might have been a weird way and a terrible way of trying to put over a relationship between Drew and Shawn. And that will come into play on Sunday. And that was the reason kind of for this, as to, I don't think it makes Randy Orton look weak, but it shows like dings in his armor that you can take a lot of people out, but you can't take everyone. And maybe it gives hope that Drew will win this match, because, and we'll get into predictions on that later, but that's a match that could go really either way.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of reports, saying that, like, one report will say Drew and the next one will be like Randy. And so I think that's a very 50-50.
Well, it also makes me wonder about this Payback coming up a week later. And it's like the name of that pay-per-view. And then it's, okay, Payback, could something be happening there that there is then some sort of redemption? Like,
right.
This huge match that, like, you couldn't wait a month for this, like something so big happens. Like, maybe they wanted to spark a buzz with this. Like Owen said, he sold it a little bit. It's not like a complete no fucking sell.
No.
But it was not what you would expect from an RKO and then
into a punt kick. Like, you would be fucking anyone's out, but Shawn Michaels is okay. It's because he was wearing NXT gear.
I read that too. That's because he was wearing NXT gear.
And he lost his hat. He was scared of his bald spot being, shown off to the camera if he was laying down.
What if it straightened his eyes out?
Yeah, it might have.
Right? He's like awesome. Stood up. He's like, I can see.
Could I also say too, Shawn Michaels needs to just adopt the backwards hat every once in a while, because he looks goofier with the frontwards hat than I think he would if he was wearing the backwards cap. I think he would actually look better with a backwards cap. He might look like a bit of a dad trying to cling on to his youth, but I think that's better than sometimes with that. I don't know.
It's either that or the hat has to look more used. Like, it's got to look like one of those ones you tucked in your pocket a million fucking times, while you've been.
Well, he was rocking those for a while.
Yeah, but the NXT one's brand new. And it's got the big fucking embroidery on it. That thing's gonna stick up. I think it's weird that happened, but also, again, we're all talking about it. The internet's talking about it. Wrestlers. So maybe there is a reason why. Like, Shawn Michaels knows wrestling. He obviously knows how to fucking sell. Look at some of the. Some of the best matches ever. Fucking Undertaker, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Look at the matches with even him and Hogan, where he takes the fucking leg kick and then falls, gets up, the sell on that type of shit.
Oh yeah, the oversell.
The oversell of everything.
Oversell. Yeah. So he knows what the fuck he's doing. Dude did not forget. There has to be some sort of strategic reason.
I agree with that.
And I don't think he's trying to piss off Trips and fucking Vince or anyone by what he did. I think there's something there, and I wonder if I read a while ago that there was going to be a possible new last match with Shawn. Like, he was maybe going to do one more match.
We never got him and AJ, and that would be the one that I would vote on. But Duncan, you said you had a theory?
I have a theory that the reason, and this is tinfoil hat time.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that Shawn didn't act decimated when Randy punt kicked him is because Randy didn't fully punt him.
Saw that, yeah.
It
was kind of a bit of a miss. It was like it wasn't a full.
But what if the reason that he did that is because it's just like, yeah, no, I punted Shawn Michaels, so when Shawn comes out on Sunday,
like
and then it's just like, oh yeah, Shawn's in Drew's corner, and then boom, sweet chin music on Drew.
I wouldn't be super opposed to that either, because if Drew's gonna drop the belt, then I want it to be at the hands of someone kind of like Shawn to help him through it, rather than a clean, Randy Orton victory.
But then it also would be that's something that's big enough that would require Payback to be the week after.
And talk about one last match. Shawn and Drew would be a great one last match.
That would not suck.
It would not suck. I know those two would probably love to work together, and I know Drew just being the guy he is.
I know they've worked together in NXT.
Yeah. Well, not on television, at least.
No.
That's never really happened. So, but no, there's a lot of possibilities there, and I think it's got us talking, much like you said, Matthew. Like, it's a really interesting point, like that. You had Duncan, and I can see things going both ways. I can also see Shawn helping Drew somehow win, and then that forms the rematch for Payback, and I get that part of the equation too. So yeah, it's I'm all right with it.
There's a lot of different ways they could go with it, and I kind of like the fact that there is not an obvious answer for this.
Yep, 100%.
You know what? And I'm also wondering, because I'm fucking scrolling back and forth on this, watching it in slow motion, scrolling through it, seeing what's happening. Also, granted, yes, he kind of gets up, he crawls to the corner of the ring, but after you're RKO'd, I would expect you to fucking. I would expect, if I were RKO'd, and then punt. I feel like I would just fucking grab my head and fall over.
Right.
Anyway.
And then maybe stand up out of instinct as well, or try to, or what have you.
Maybe just
now I've just rewatched it fucking 50 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm I'm not as mad. And I also, but it still leads to I think there's something there. He is kind of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed when he gets to the turnbuckle, when he's looking around, so there is that. But you then have to weigh your scales there with okay, he was the king of overselling. But again, I take all of that into Shawn Michaels knows what the fuck he's doing, and I think we would have heard there was backstage heat by now.
I agree.
Other
and I don't think
fans talking shit and other wrestlers.
Yeah, and I don't think that Shawn would Matthew or Owen. I think you made the point. I don't think Shawn would want to jeopardize any of his relationships backstage or with his job at NXT by being a dick to Randy for no real fucking reason.
He's got too much invested in the company with the NXT thing, and just there's this
new theory. Randy put his dick on his shoulder.
Could have happened.
I'd no sell the punt cake if he put his dick on my shoulder.
Yep.
Speaking of dicks on shoulders, actually nothing at all related to that. Kind of. My favorite news story that came from this past week that since we did the last podcast, Duncan, was that...
Oh, with me showing my belly.
Was Rusev and Lana confirmed they banged on the tank.
That was, dude, but we should have covered that at least 2 weeks ago.
Maybe it's old, but it still makes me happy that Rusev banged. And why wouldn't you? And why wouldn't you? I'm glad.
Do
Dude,
it in, on, around.
I was gonna say,
I mean,
I've
all
banged,
places.
During.
I've banged less in worse places. You know what I mean? And been happy about it. So
I just hope
it.
that before and after he fucking waved the flag. You know, like
Oh, he
Yep.
waved it and fucking spiked it down, and
Yeah.
then he spiked her.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's how you
Yeah,
do.
he was Rusev stabs guts. Hashtag Rusev stabs guts.
We're
and
doing
he
that
probably yells Rusev Day when he finishes.
Yeah.
If he doesn't, oh man, that's
I was going
missed
back through
opportunity.
old pictures,
Missed
and I
opportunity.
saw it was literally. I was like, "What is this calendar?" And I clicked on it, and it was from like 2018. And it just says it's got the calendar, and then it just says Rusev Day, and I'm just like, I miss Rusev Day, the
Don't-
same as I miss the fucking Chris Jericho and KO, all of that.
all
bullshit.
the list.
like
Yeah.
Did you guys read the article where he was talking? I forget where it was. Who knows if it was Twitch or
Probably
something.
on his Twitch.
It was
The
Twitch
one
or
with the
podcast.
merch. The one with the merch thing.
Yeah, about the merch, and he was selling the most merch, and
Yeah.
he talked to Vince about it, and Vince was like, "Well, you're not." He was like, "I'm selling more merch than Roman Reigns," and he was like, "I'm the number one merch seller," and he's like, "We're sold out," and he's like, "Oh, it's because we didn't print that much." Or like
Right.
you need to print. So it was something along those lines. I don't
Yeah.
remember exactly, but I remember. But I was like, oh, I'd be fucking pissed too if I was
Yeah,
him. And
and
I was
then
like,
he's-
I'm the number one merch seller, and literally you're telling me like, oh, it doesn't really matter because in my head it's because we only printed this many.
Vince also told Rusev that the fans were chanting Rusev Day at him.
Like ironically that they didn't
Ironically.
like him, that they were
Yeah,
saying,
that we
"Oh,
weren't-
we're booing."
And we were
Rusev."
like,
Yeah.
oh, Rusev Day. Well, we were
Right.
definitely like all three of us. All of us were Rusev
How could
Day
you
marks.
not? How could you
Yeah.
not?
One day Vince is gonna get the old dick on his shoulder.
Vince has probably touched that dick on his shoulder before.
He's asked
Yeah.
for that dick on his shoulder before.
No, he demanded. that dick on his shoulder.
You put your dick on your shoulder right now. You
Put your dick on my goddamn shoulder right now, you pussy.
Yeah.
pussy.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna do
He's
it.
gonna do it. He's gonna put his cock right on my shoulder.
What did you guys think of Abyss turning up on SDL? That was interesting. I mean, we know he's been backstage for quite a while. I forget Abyss's real name, and I know he has like the alter ego in Impact Wrestling that was the clean-cut version of the corporate version, if you will, of Abyss. But seeing him next to AJ Styles actually on TV, is that something that you think is just a one-off, or is that something that you would be happy to see them kind of play off a little bit, even if Abyss doesn't get in the ring? It wouldn't that to me, I think that would be a kind of cool homage to old AJ Styles and TNA or Impact, and kind of making that thing. I don't know.
It would. However, WWE does not own the tape library
Yes.
for all of those old AJ Styles matches in Impact.
Mm,
So I don't see them wanting to bring like a huge amount of attention to, hey, go watch Impact's streaming service.
this is true. But
Now, if they did acquire, I don't think they won't play on it, but I also think that since Impact is still so prevalent,
well, it has done in the
they're-
last 6 months for sure. It's become way more prevalent, of course.
exactly. So I don't think that they're going to necessarily focus on the AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, like all of the different players that have been in Impact at one time or another. I don't know that they focus on that too much because they are still technically competition.
I agree with that, but I think there's the possibility there to kind of just subtly jab and be like, hey, we've got
100%.
one of your former guys. He writes backstage. Like, there had to have been a little bit of that going on for them to even put him on TV as, like, I forget how they framed it, but it was basically like, it was almost like AJ Styles' advisor or something, right? Like
right.
some
Yeah, it was sort of a tongue-in-cheek kind of if you know, you know.
I that. I think that's a good way around it, that they don't have to have those archives. They don't have to show those matches, but the fans that know and know who that guy is, so that they might be able to slip that in as part of storyline a little bit more. I wouldn't be opposed, is what I'm trying to say.
I wouldn't be opposed either, but we also know that character. The casual fan that doesn't know who that is might not get that connection and understand who and fair. Why that's a big deal.
But I think you look at that, you look at Gallows and Anderson, you look at the other things that have been happening. I think it's a small and big jab in a way, to be able to put that person on. Then you look at like certain tweets. There was a tweet, I forget, it was like a screenshot of Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, and fucking Abyss, and it was like on SmackDown, and it was like WWE 2020 or like TNA 2006,
yeah,
or something like that, you know. And it was like, I don't remember the exact thing, so pardon me if I get it wrong, but it was funny to think that, and to then be like, oh yeah. And then so when I think about why they're doing it, again, I agree with what you guys are saying. Like, to the casual fan, might not make a lot of sense. You could possibly build a storyline, that sort of, but to wrestling fanatics, it's might be another way to creatively pull and be like, yeah, we did let these guys go. They've done their Talking Shop and Mania. They're doing things, you know, here. They're doing, you know, they had Slammiversary, that, you know, like that sort of stuff. Guess what? We're still interconnected, and now we're gonna pull you back in, and we're like, your eyes were like darting, right? And now you're back looking at us again. Like, no matter how many times there's like headlights, like, you know, in your blinders, like, we're gonna try and bring you back a little bit.
I think so. I think there had to have been someone who thought that through. Maybe even Abyss himself, you know, that kind of thinks that, hey, you know, this is a good way to kind of draw old Impact attention to us again, and like kind of work it a little bit. It was one of those weird few things that I'm like, they can make this work, and he can also be the type of character, because of his, you know, performances, you know, prior, that even if you don't show any of it, he knows what he's doing on a microphone. He knows what he's doing in the wrestling ring. So if it gets to that later down the road, we can build our own character with this thing that
don't even need to, because WWE has shown, and I completely forgot about this, like in the past, they'll pay TNA to use their footage.
Oh yeah, they will.
They've done it for stuff with Samoa Joe and AJ, so like
several times. Dixie Carter's been on the network, you know, like that.
Exactly. So it stands to reason that like they could just purchase enough clips and license enough clips to use to build up the Abyss character if they really wanted to. Well, I think it would be interesting. I don't know that I want to see more old talent from the past being utilized when there's a lot of new talent that could be using that screen time.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I think that's an interesting point. I want to get to that in 1 second. I was going to say, when you were saying that he's good on the mic, bringing it back, looking at what he's doing with the suit and everything like that, it really, we were all talking about this, I was like, oh yeah, Brock Lesnar's a thing. Where is he? And I know they're waiting for fans. I know that, but I legit had forgotten about him until right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That moment in time, because this made me think of like the him and Paul Heyman aspect.
Well, he's stuck in Canada or something, probably, right?
Like that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But beyond that, there was the other thing I said, put it on hold, then I went with my Brock Lesnar thing, and I fucking forgot.
AJ Styles, the Abyss guy,
no.
Well, do you want to do? Do you want to do
Fucking lost
predictions? We should do
Yeah.
We should do predictions for NXT at least. Let's do some.
Let's see if we got any. Let me see if I can find some live results.
Yeah, see if we need to add anything. I'll go ahead and refresh the Wikipedia here to make sure we have the most accurate of matches slated for the evening. As of right now, it remains the same. We've got 5 matches. And I'm really happy to see this one. We've got a pre-show match, boys, with Breezango back in the mix. Really happy to hear that Breezango is back in the mix.
Yeah, on a pre-show.
Well, that's I guess what they do. Versus Danny Burch, Oni Lorcan versus Legado del Fantasma and Joaquin Wilde. So, this triple threat tag team match, triple threat tag team match to determine the number 1 contenders for the NXT Tag Team Championships. This one to me seems like a Danny Burch, Oni Lorcan, but I can't start the round without our champion Duncan. These are new rules here. Duncan gets to pick who goes first. Don't you, Duncan? How are we doing?
Well, okay, so my thought was I think we disagreed on what the champion's advantage.
Yeah, there needs to be a champion's advantage, which okay, fair.
Right. So obviously we have the champion's advantage of the tie, champion retains. But my thought was that the champion should have the option to pick last after hearing the other two
but not every,
predictions.
but I said that can't be every match. Like,
right, I disagree. But that's, you just want it to be one match. It's really easy to just be like, okay, well, you're last.
Well, why would you not? You would want it to be every
obviously,
match.
And if you were champion, you would want it to be as well. I'm just saying. Otherwise, I would not waste my champion's advantage if it were a one-time thing. I would not waste it on a pre-show match.
I wish I knew that there was a champion's advantage since I'm the longest retaining.
Well, and that's why
there ever was.
He's making up rules. He's making up rules.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I did it.
He had his dog almost die to save him the first time. He's
first
now,
of all, don't bring that up anymore. And second of all,
it's a joke.
Don't care. Second of all, it's not my fault that I got high and thought of a champion's advantage stipulation that was what I thought to be fair without being like, I can change my vote during the show. You know what I mean? Like without being something absolutely ridiculous,
right?
Or
right.
like
I think if you're gonna do that,
yourself.
if you're gonna do that though, then you got to give the other two a certain number of tags. So at the end of what you've said, you're said and done, and we get to tag and change our mind.
I mean, I don't disagree.
At least once or twice.
Yeah, I think it depends on.
So if we go, me and Matthew go back and forth with who's first on each one, and you go last, we get to pick after the fact. Like we get to change our minds.
I'm saying we could make a hard and fast rule depending on the number of matches that each opponent to the challenger, to the champion, has a certain number, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3, if there's like a bunch of matches, where after Duncan, because he gets to go last, he makes he says what he wants to, and then he makes his prediction. He can't change it, but we have 1 or 2.
I'd say one. I'd say 1 per pay-per-view is the way I would go with that.
And you can pick and choose if you want to use. It's sort of like a Money in the Bank briefcase. It's you have a. No,
you can't stock. I don't think you can stockpile them. I think there's just
no. You have one.
You have one.
So
yeah,
if you
yeah.
want to use it, but you get to
That's
pick
fair.
which match
I like
you want
that.
to use it on.
So that I can change my pick after you've made your pick on one of the matches per pay-per-view, and the same for Matthew. Is that what we're agreeing on?
Correct.
Okay.
We are.
You know what?
We are establishing.
I'm on board with that.
Establishing new rules is what we're doing.
Okay.
We're trying to spice it up a little bit.
I like it.
Because we can't have like a mid-card title. That doesn't make any. Well, I mean, we could for the jabronis in the chat room. The group, but I don't
there's
deal with that.
We're not ready for a mid-card title yet.
No.
Pre-show match, I've already said it, so we'll go with this for, of course, with all of Takeover here and SummerSlam, that you will get to pick Last Duncan on all of these.
Okay.
So
right.
I've already said that I'm going Danny Burch and Orny Lorcan for the winner of this match. Where are you going, Matthew?
I'm with you as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you wanted to make an impact with Breezango, that you would do it on not a pre-show and have them win to make it count.
It would be great if they did. I mean, to be honest, it would kind of be a nice little treat.
I would hope so.
It would be a nice little treat if Fandango and Breezango were able to come back and have some, cred, but I just don't see it happening. Duncan, our champion.
They haven't been around long. I mean, they've been just kind of lost in the shuffle for so long that it doesn't make them a number one contender if they win.
I agree. Where are you going?
I'm torn because I definitely don't think it's Breezango. I love them. I just don't think that they're going to be the ones to be the number one contenders for the tag titles. Burch and Lorcan makes sense, but I feel like they're really trying to push the Legado del Fantasma.
They are. I mean, Phantasma, they like Phantasma for like a lot of reasons.
Dude, Joaquin Wilde is dope. Like, Joaquin and Raul Mendoza are both really fucking solid. So I am gonna go with the Legado del Fantasma.
Okay.
To be tag team champs, or to be number one contenders. I feel like they're trying to push that stable really hard.
Sure.
In sort of an Undisputed Era-esque way. So we'll roll the dice. We'll see if my luchador gut pays off.
We'll see what happens. Second match, which I'm guessing on will be actually the opening match for the show, which is the ladder match for the vacant NXT North American Championship between Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, Cameron Grimes, Johnny Gargano, Finn Balor, or Velveteen Dream. So I suppose that's the match tonight, right? It says Finn Balor or Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, that match happened tonight. I'm trying to find the results of it.
You guys
because
read that article that Trips was saying that Velveteen was out not because of the speaking out, but because of a car accident.
Yeah,
dude, that's some dirty fucking shit. Velveteen Dream has no business being on TV right now at fucking all. Like,
without us knowing more and without the investigation being finished, I think that, like, there was more stuff today. I think you might have even seen there's some stuff come out that I'm not convinced that Velveteen Dream isn't a piece of shit.
And he definitely, like, the victim apparently has not been contacted
by the police and stuff.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And or by WWE for an internal investigation.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, and they kept everybody in the dark about Velveteen coming back.
Never said a word about it. Never made it a statement.
Well, and they didn't tell anybody backstage. Like, it was very under wraps backstage.
Weird.
So, like, a lot of those people didn't know until he fucking came out.
Wow, that's weird.
So
this one is a tough one to call. Do we know who won that match?
I'm looking.
Yeah. Sorry, I could probably do the same.
Well,
Well,
Finn Balor, Velveteen Dream.
It will be Matthew. It
I
will
have
be
like
your
12 screens up here, so hold on. Let me just.
My thing is with all this, if I'm guessing, it's not either Finn Balor or Velveteen Dream, so it doesn't make a ton of difference to me. I think that they're gonna give it to Damian Priest because of his buzz.
Velveteen Dream defeated Finn Balor.
Okay,
Wow.
there you go. That's an interesting one.
So it says it remains extremely unclear as to whether or not Velveteen Dream is a babyface or heel, but NXT appeared to pipe the booze during his entrance and he wrestled in black tights, so that might make things clearer. So Velveteen Dream squeezed in as many NWO Wolfpack references in one match as he could. I'm looking at a GIF right now of him doing like multiple 2 sweets.
Right.
Both of these men worked this match as the heel when they were in control. Cameron Grimes cares more about this match than anybody because even though he already clinched a spot, he still insisted on being the first person to come out and screw with his potential opponents. Finn Balor had no business climbing a ladder in a match that was literally his last chance at competing in a ladder match. I don't think any of these men understand that an NXT American champion will be crowned only when they retrieve the belt this Saturday. Finn Balor was too easily distracted to deserve to win this match. This is this was on Forbes, so
interesting. Okay, then. So I'm picking Damian Priest for this just because I think that people are hot on him. I'm not a huge fan. Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird one, but I think that they want to push him.
I'm going. I'm stuck in between now with Velveteen and Cameron Grimes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cameron Grimes has been getting a big push too.
I know, and that's why I'm stuck.
Yeah, I think Cameron Grimes is a better.
I think it's a better pick.
Yeah, and he's a better wrestler than like Damian Priest. I'm never gonna look past him as that sort of mid-card jobber in Ring of Honor.
Okay.
I'm going Cameron Grimes.
All right. Matthew's going Cameron Grimes.
Cameron Grimes
Good
is
old
a
CG.
Solid pick. Ooh.
Moves to you, Dunk.
Oh, it's so tough because if I'm like...
It's tough because he already beat, and because Cameron Grimes already beat Velveteen in a qualifying match.
Right. And it's also tough because, who does the ladder match play to? Bronson Reed, he's a big, beefy boy. It's not really his kind of match. I could see it. But do you want to have your 2 men's champions be big old hosses?
Good point. Good point. I mean, we're forgetting Gargano. I mean, there's a
no. I'm really torn between Gargano and Dream at this point because I feel like if they bring Dream back,
Gargano Dream feud would be really good too.
Well, with what I just read without seeing it, just seeing a GIF. It seems like if they're super hyping that sort of Wolfpack, like that heelish Velveteen, like that's why I was going between the two. I'm kind of wild carding it with Cameron Grimes just because I think he deserves the push.
And that's why I'm gonna go Velveteen because I picture him walking down with the belt, fucking like Hollywood Hogan style. Like playing air guitar on the belt and fucking just scumming it up.
I agree with that, and also just possibly just being a legit scumbag.
Yeah,
which a lot of people are probably going to be mad about.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, they
it
put
works.
him in the ladder match.
It works.
So they put him in a ladder match, and the fact that Triple H said that in an interview this week.
Yeah,
that's like.
I think they're still too hot on him.
Okay.
I'm tagging in. I'm going Velveteen.
Oh, whoa. You're tagging. You're changing it. You're going VD. All right.
He's going with the venereal Dream.
All right. VD it is for Matthew.
Right.
Moving on to the third match. Women's championship match. Io Shirai versus Dakota Kai. Women's championship match.
Io Shirai.
Yeah, I was gonna do it too. I mean, I don't think it's time to take the belt off her, and I don't think Dakota Kai is the right challenger to take that belt off her.
Even if there's fuckery with Raquel Gonzalez, I still think that Yeah, Io Shirai takes it.
So across the board, Io Shirai.
Io Shirai across the board on that one.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. We'll do this bullshit one next. The Adam Cole versus Pat McAfee match.
Adam Cole. I think we're probably across the board.
No, because I go completely the other way. I think it's going to be Pat McAfee. I think they always do this type of thing where some jabron fucking wins against, somehow.
He's not Gronk.
Yeah, but somehow we're going to get the Undisputed Era interfering, and it ends up in a DQ for Adam Cole. Therefore, Pat McAfee wins. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm going Pat McAfee. You guys are both going Adam Cole. Is that the case?
Yeah.
I mean, you're probably. Yeah. I mean, it should be.
The only way he wins is a fucking cheat or quick roll.
I don't even think a quick roll up works. Like,
I think that makes Adam Cole look fucking bad.
I think they're gonna Gronk. Yeah. I think they're gonna Gronk us. I don't think they care if it makes him look bad. I think it's gonna be just another one of these bullshit, stupid, throw a celebrity in a match.
You're probably not wrong, but fuck that.
But he doesn't need to beat Adam Cole. Everything Adam Cole has done.
Yeah. Adam Cole's strong enough to lose a match to him, though, than he is a lot of other people. So.
But there's no reason why.
I don't think that does any sort of good, and I do think that will damage Adam Cole as opposed. Like, I don't think he's necessarily strong enough right now.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but I know how the WWE thinks, or I think I do, and that's why I say Pat McAfee. So.
Well, I mean, Pat McAfee is also not a real football player, so.
No, it's true. He's a podcast jerk, Like, I don't
kicker. Who the fuck cares?
Who cares? Last match of the evening, fifth match of the evening, fourth on the main card. The championship match, the singles match, the men's NXT championship. Keith Lee versus Karrion Kross with Scarlett.
Keith Lee retains.
I was leaning that way too. I really was, but
it's too early to take it off him.
I keep going back and forth.
NXT has a history of keeping belts on people for a long time. It's too early for Keith Lee. I think it would hurt what they've built with him if they take it off him. I think you could establish a good feud, do a 2 of 3 or something like that. A 3 of 3 match, like series with them. I don't think if done properly. I'm not saying they're setting themselves up for it, but I'm saying, or you could bring it back. But I don't think that Keith Lee loses. I think it's way too early, and I think maybe they're going to try and wait until they can have a couple of fans, or possibly the Thunderdome works. Who the fuck knows?
I'm the most torn on this match than I have with a lot of them, because my thought process is that you kind of ruin Karrion Kross a little bit if you don't have him win. But
I have preached that fucking gospel with AEW several times.
Yes, you have.
And I have been wrong every time.
Every time.
It just seems like they pushed this too quickly, and I'm a firm believer that Karrion Kross should make it happen. That's it. Like, I've been like 51, 52%, 49, 48% for the other. Like, but I keep going back to Keith Lee, but like, I'm not saying Karrion Kross doesn't deserve it and doesn't deserve it in the field. I just think it's too quick. They pushed it on us.
I think it is going to be Keith Lee, and I think one of the major reasons behind that is we've all heard how hot Triple H and a lot, I think, of the WWE has been on Karrion Kross, and I don't see his time in NXT being a very long stretch. So maybe this is the match when he loses but comes out looking strong, that they move him up to the main roster sooner rather than later. Maybe they like fast track him in that direction because he will work better. I think he's a main roster guy. He's going to work better on the main roster than he will on NXT. So I'm going to agree with Keith Lee.
I am also going to go ahead.
I was going to say, what if they double DQ him?
Could be a possibility, but then
they could do a double DQ, or they could do a DQ and Karrion Kross wins, but that doesn't really necessarily benefit anybody. I think, Owen, you're absolutely right. Kross will be main roster, and also the sooner you get him main roster, the sooner you get people used to him. So I also think that Keith Lee wins, because I don't know that Kross needs a title run in NXT. He just needs to understand how the WWE system works, and I think he does.
I think so. So, all right, that ties it up. We've at least got our NXT predictions down. Our what is it? NXT XXX.
NXT straight edge.
Actually, no. Vin Diesel comes into that match and fucking win. He comes in on a car through the fucking center.
The parachute.
He jumps out.
Playing.
Yeah, and then he talks shit about The Rock.
And do you remember when Ice Cube was in XXX 2?
I never saw it, but I could believe that
I didn't see it, but Ice Cube was in XXX 2.
Well,
didn't he have his own thing where he went like his own X? Like he went with his own thing? I don't know. Yeah.
You're thinking of DMX, and then there was
I
X.
don't know.
And X gonna give it to you.
I'll roll us back into wrestling here. I did remember, I wrote it down on this post-it, that what I was going to say right before we did predictions there, where I said I kind of forgot there. I had a brain shart, as you would say.
Yeah.
But it was mentioned in that conversation about Abyss and bringing old talent back to bring people in. Obviously, this has been a tried and true method. True method for wrestling in general, and a lot of things, like to get fans and all of these sorts of things. But I think that we owe it to have a conversation that AEW has done a lot of that same thing.
100% they have, yeah.
So you can't like just give them a pass on that, because even when we have thought that they are going to continue to give a lot of people and their roster a chance, which, you know, they've talked about, they do have AEW Dark. They have talked about possibilities of a second show, things like that, right? But then you look at, and I'm going to say, spoilers for AEW Dynamite, turn it off, stop listening, or fast forward like 3 minutes if you guys don't want to hear about this.
The one that's coming out on Saturday, like that hasn't aired yet. Okay.
Yeah,
if we're doing that, we can't.
Got spoiler music.
Yeah, we got to play spoiler music. So
okay,
if you're gonna give a big spoiler, I gotta, which I know exists. Guys,
we gotta
play some music in the background when you hear. If you don't want spoilers for this Saturday's Dynamite when it airs, then when the music ends, you can kind of just hop through it as on your podcast or whatever. If there's no music playing, then we're not doing spoilers. So let me get the music. All right, here we go. It's my spoiler music. Let's talk about Saturday.
So I was going to say, leading from that with old talent and things, obviously there was, and I think it's interesting, we were just talking about NXT. Apparently there was a old NXT spy in the crowd who leaked these spoilers.
Yeah.
And AEW wrestlers are pissed. But Rowan made an appearance, so has come back.
The artist formerly known as Rowan the Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. That cage thing got dropped real quick.
Wish he would have brought that back.
Yeah, and now he's with AEW. But on top of that, also Brody Lee winning the championship.
Yep.
So again, this kind of leads to what I was saying with, if you're going to say you're going to have talent that you're going to build and you're not going to rely on all this, I understand you're trying to get eyes, and I'm a huge AEW smart, so don't get me wrong, but I think if I have to have this conversation, I have to look at it from both sides and be like, well, they've definitely been fucking doing that.
Absolutely. Well, even just the hiring of Chris Jericho and like like some of the people like Mike Chioda fucking this past week, the referee that got fired by the WWE, Mike Chioda hopping up. Like, are we really gonna keep doing this?
Arn Anderson.
Zack fucking Ryder. You know,
right? Especially after like Cody had that tweet the week of, and I guarantee, I know he's doing kayfabe, but he's like, oh no, we wouldn't do that.
All friends wrestling. That's not what we're doing. Like,
that's not at all what we're doing.
But it is.
Exactly.
It is. I will say it was interesting that I don't know if you guys saw Matt Jackson, I think, did the tweet or on Instagram. I think it was him doing the front, like the dive front flip into everybody and saying like, oh, really stuck that landing, huh? Like, just as like a joke. And Randy Orton got in his comments and said like, tell Jericho, and he listed all the people. He's like, that I say hi. Like wave emoji, and he's like, hey, tell, and then Matt just came back at him and he's like, hey, tell Paul thanks for the really amazing offer back in 2018. I thought that was pretty funny. But
there's your spoilers. There's your spoilers, right? Are we good with spoilers?
I think we're good with spoilers.
All right, good. All right.
But cut the music. But with spoilers or no spoilers, I think it goes to say that you can't leave AEW out of that conversation if you're going to say WWE is bringing people back. It's the same way they brought The Rock back for that initial SmackDown, and that was like the #1 rating that they have had in a long time. They know what they're doing. Everyone knows what they're doing, whether it's taking small jabs or not. But it is interesting when you look at AEW and that they are continuing to have that, and they have this ideal, I think, that most wrestling fans see is like, and I hope it doesn't happen this way, and I've just now thought of this, that it's something so new that everybody old goes there and it becomes complacent.
It does have comparisons to the old TNA. It really does. Like, they definitely need to sort of like get away from that. That's why even this week there was like some rumors of once upon a time Goldberg wanting, or like AEW trying to like hit up Goldberg to be a part of the organization. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, I think those rumors were quashed, whether or not they were
Goldberg
true
said
or
he
not.
Has like a 2-year contract.
And he's like, I got it. Well, it's like all
and
that
still
shit
has
is
several
untrue.
big matches left.
Oh,
right.
I can't wait for those.
What is it? Contract through 2022 and 2 shows a year or 2 matches a year, I think is what.
And they're like big marquee matches.
Yeah.
Too,
I'm thinking of getting the tattoo on my arm.
They're your Saudi Arabia.
I'm honestly surprised that you don't. I'm only wearing a sleeve because it covers up mine.
Well, I'm probably gonna get it and then hire a hit on a journalist.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Oh, that seems about like Goldbergy.
But yeah, I mean, those were obviously planned for Saudi Arabia type things, like the one that big thing that they do in Australia. Like, I think that those, like, hiring him in was like, you know, yeah, he'll have a big match here and there on a Raw or on a pay-per-view or what have you, but he's the marquee for an overseas match, like a big fucking deal. Unfortunately, you know, like the world isn't like that anymore. I don't know. Is there?
I want to see him fight COVID.
Just one-on-one?
Just
like,
jackhammer COVID.
Yeah, try and jackhammer it.
It's about time someone did.
Fuck.
I mean, I could give a shit if Goldberg comes back. That doesn't
do anything for me
at all.
No.
But
none of it appeals.
What I did read was Meltzer say that virtually every WWE talent, with the exception of Roman Reigns, has
Oh.
reached out to AEW.
Isn't that insane just to hear that in some fashion or form, like they've all kind of had some contact, like, hey,
That's wild.
what's going on over there?
I
Like,
forget who it was, not Meltzer, but someone reputable that I actually read today saying that is not fully true. Not everyone actually was reaching out to, but I get, but also that is also the press you would want to release when something like that comes out. That then leads me to an interesting topic, which is Renee Young.
Well, I was literally, you stole my segue, you motherfucker.
I'm the king of fucking segues.
Yeah.
Okay, it's fine.
I don't have your notes, but I got shit up here, you know.
I don't think she's going to AEW. Renee Young off.
She shouldn't.
I think she's going to ESPN.
I think she's got bigger things ahead of her. I think she's got like an NBC Sports. I think she's got an Fox Sports or ESPN.
Hear me out. She goes to ESPN for a little bit.
Yeah.
She becomes the next Rachel Ray, the one like everyone kind of wants to fuck. She's cooking good food. She just released this cookbook. Like, I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm all right with it.
You know what I think would be great? Fucking let Renee be an NFL commentator.
I think she can do all of that. I think she can.
She absolutely could. She absolutely
all of
could.
it.
But for the most part, I mean, what does she want to do? I guess that's the thing. Obviously, she doesn't want to work for WWE anymore.
Yeah, if I was her, I might be a little bit skeptical of going to work in another pro wrestling company, even though that would be the easy option. I think AEW would hire her in a heartbeat.
Of course they would.
I think ESPN. I think they've gotten in her ear. I think she was there.
Yeah.
She was doing the show. She is now seen, and they've seen in her, and she has been prepared to do this. And they've said, "Okay, we're giving you an offer. We want you to be some sort of correspondent or reporter or something, which could possibly work into her own show or podcast, like these things." I think it's there. I think it's fully that I would bet, and I don't bet like in Vegas or anything, because I would always lose money and I don't like doing that. But if I were a betting man, I would say she's going to ESPN.
I wonder if there was an announcement today just after the Renee, putting in her, I guess 2 weeks or, whatever.
Apparently
it is.
she put in her notice a while ago.
Okay.
So,
well,
it's like she'll be done after SummerSlam is what the report is.
It broke in the last day or two, right?
Yes.
So
broke this morning.
Yeah. So what I also heard is on the same day that they're possibly thinking of relaunching Talking Smack on the WWE network, which was of course like her show, and I think she enjoyed doing that show and was wonderful in that role. I wonder if that was like the last minute ditch to try and entice her to stay with the company. Like, again, it wouldn't surprise me. Like, that seems
it wouldn't surprise me at all. That's classic WWE.
100%.
And now they're just going to get it with somebody who's not going to be as good as she was.
Yep.
They're going to have Paige do it.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, that's probably what they're going to do.
Hey, guys, it's Paige.
Hey, guys.
Shoot me in the face.
Oh, God. Yep, won't be watching that. It's speaking of things that the WWE are apt to do. Duncan, you brought this one up. I had seen it.
This is
going to
be the thing that I was gonna bring up, that I was gonna rant about.
It was this iconic commemorative belt.
These motherfuckers.
Yeah, go ahead and tell us. I've got a pee, so do you mind handling this while I go take a pee real quick?
Yeah. So earlier today, I get an email from Shop WWE, and it's just like, "Hey, save on titles," and I'm like, "All right, let me see what you got for me." It's never good enough. One of the items that they have available is how they have this series of like collector's edition belts. So they have like the Hulk Hogan winged eagle that's red and yellow, and they have the Shawn Michaels winged eagle. So,
or they have like the gold with the NWO on it.
Exactly. Like they have the Bret Hart one that's all pink and black on the strap, and they have the Triple H one. That's so they have an Intercontinental title that is the Chyna, like, commemorative belt.
Really?
And as soon as I saw it, I got so fucking mad because I'm like, you motherfuckers haven't even let her in the Hall of Fame on her own. And now you're capitalizing on this to sell a $500 fucking belt. And it looks cool, but all it is it's that Attitude Era Intercontinental replica. You're going to look it up. Yeah. But for our listeners who aren't going to look it up, it's the Attitude Era rounded Intercontinental title on a black strap that had that's got the Chyna logo all over it. I'm pretty sure if you spread it out, it says Ninth Wonder of the World down one of the things or one of the ends of the strap. And it's just I saw that and I was just like, motherfucker, I give them credit for doing one thing. And then they come back and they're just like, oh, but by the way, we're going to sell you this fucking exorbitantly expensive belt for a woman that we don't even think is good enough to be in the Hall of Fame.
$500 or something.
Yeah, right? and the tweet that they released says, celebrate the ninth wonder of the world with the new #Chyna Signature Series title at WWE Shop, featuring #Attitude Era IC title plates with Swarovski crystals and a studded strap. Every detail commemorates the legacy of this history-making WWE legend. How have they not been able to commemorate the legacy of that history-making WWE legend before?
Exactly what I'm fucking saying. And her being inducted as being part of DX doesn't goddamn count. She deserves to have her own statue and her own, you know what I mean?
She needs to be in the Hall of Fame on her own 100%.
Make a bronze fucking Chyna statue the way you made one of Dusty. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm reading their announcement on this right now, and just
how tone deaf is it, man?
Chyna's accomplishments or impact cannot be overstated, boldly treading into territories previously unknown for female superstars. Chyna broke as many gender barriers as she did bodies. Known for her unbelievable strength, the late WWE Women's Champion blazed a trail unlike anyone in WWE history. That paragraph alone. Really, right. WWE, go fuck yourself. You're going to literally put that paragraph and you're not going to fucking put her in your quote Hall of Fame, which doesn't exist, but she should be a fucking part of.
Right.
You should have recognized her before now and not just to make money. You should have recognized her for her.
They're just so fucking bent about the fact that at some point, Steph and Triple H's kids are gonna
find her in the porno or whatever.
No, it's not that. They're gonna find out that her dad used to be with
someone else. Yeah,
and then their dad left this other person for their mom. You know what I mean? It's gonna show Triple H as once again not being the best kind of guy. So
Velveteen Dream was in a car accident. So
this is true. This is true.
That's all we have to remember.
It's getting a little late, boys. So do we want to should we hop into the last bit of predictions?
The Thunderdome of SummerSlam predictions.
Yeah.
You guys can ramp it up. I have to pee.
Yeah. You go pee. I'll start it off in a second and we'll get right there. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some SummerSlam predictions.
But why do you sound like a Muppet version of the Fink? You drunk son of a bitch! All right. Well, I'm glad that we can just total gimmick infringement on the Good Brothers.
Well, we're all right. That's what we've been doing for years, haven't we? I mean, whatever.
It's actually true.
We do it in life. They would like it.
I'm sure they would. I'm interested to see how the fucking Thunderdome looks, and especially because this is going to be our first look at it, right?
No, Friday. SmackDown.
Oh, really?
SmackDown's going to be the first look,
See,
apparently.
I disagree with that.
I do too. I think you do it. They should be doing it SummerSlam as the big veiling or
the
what
big
have
unveiling. Make people want to watch it.
But
God
fuck
damn
it. But that Fox money, they got to keep them happy. So that's probably something to do with it.
Okay, you're right. The Fox money is definitely, dude. That Fox deal, if they
fuck that up, then woo,
oh my god.
Woo.
There's a reason that Vince and Steph and Trips have sold off so much of their stock lately. For a lot
they'll
of
be fine.
Money.
They'll be fine.
Oh, I'm not worried about them.
Yeah.
Of all the people on this planet that I would possibly be worried about,
right?
The McMahon family, not amongst them.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
I would care about Shane more than any of them.
We didn't talk about it on the show yet, and I think it warrants us talking about before we do the predictions because it will lead into our first prediction because there are 8 matches on this show so far. None of them are listed as pre-show, but I think this one would this one will be on the main show, I would assume, but it falls to the bottom of the list. We never talked anything about the Sonya Deville situation with her attempted kidnapping and stalker. That sounds extremely scary, and we're not.
Mandy Rose was with her too,
and Mandy Rose was with her.
Yeah, which is the first match that we will get into, which I thought we would, obviously have to just bring up real quick. So. Yeah, that obviously kayfabe world, they're enemies, but they're best friends in real life. I think Mandy Rose was staying at Sonya Deville's house. Sounds like a psycho who had been texting her, broke into said house that was owned by.
He apparently broke in, drove there, parked, showed up.
Tweeted them or hit them up from the garden, outside.
But stayed there for a couple hours watching them.
Wow, that's so crazy.
Okay, we gotta talk about wrestling fans and boundaries.
Yeah.
Because I see on Twitter far too often a wrestler tweeting out, "Hey, somebody found my grandma's address and mailed them 8x10s to have me sign."
No.
Don't fucking do that.
No, don't fucking
You know what I
that.
mean?
Don't show up to a person's house. Don't follow their car.
Don't show up at the airport.
Don't show up at the PC outside of where they work.
I forgot which independent wrestler, woman wrestler that I saw on Twitter the other day, and she was like, "It is not okay to hit on and ask me out while I'm working as a waitress," because she's not can't make a living as a full-time wrestler, and she's like. Then she made the point to say, it's not okay to do that to any waiter or waitress who is literally serving you.
Just a waiter or waitress. They're not even a public figure I might be as an independent wrestler.
Yeah, they're working.
Yeah, they're working.
They're working. So being an independent, they shouldn't do it. And I think someone actually posted in the group that I saw recently, that WWE was making it a no touch, no contact type thing. They posted some pictures, which is those were creepy pictures.
That's a good thing that they did.
Becky Lynch,
unfortunately, with our group and some of the members, they get on things a little late. I believe that had started around the beginning of COVID or even before it. That there had been that mandate that at meet and greets, access or what have you, fans can't touch the wrestlers or touch that had happened before any of this. Yet, still not saying it's not a good thing, but I just want to clear that up. That's not a brand new thing. That had
but man,
that had been in there.
Picture, but you look at that picture of Becky Lynch getting fucking bear hugged by that guy. She is
so not
upset.
Cool. Yeah,
and
cool.
her fists are clenched. It's don't fucking be that creepy guy.
No,
just don't do it. It's not cool. You're
not
a fan.
Cool, and really,
fan.
What the fuck are you getting out of it?
Well,
other than a creepy photo, and also I don't
no. These guys are these guys are a different breed. They feel a little bit of connection to them, and I do feel there's maybe some people that may be more on the spectrum with this type of thing that want
but they should definitely
take
their shit together.
It's like the Sonya Deville
it doesn't make
thing.
it right. It's just
like this guy like said that like when it happened, from at least what I've read, and I haven't read a lot of it. I haven't had a ton of time, but I've read like 1 or 2 articles. And he like totally just came out and was like, "Yeah, no, I was definitely gonna fucking kidnap her."
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
no,
Like,
he said that to the. He straight up said that to the police. Yeah.
There's no like claiming any sort of defense.
He
Like,
broke in there with a
like-
knife. He was gonna try and get them in the car. He had zip
like,
ties. He
and
had
duct tape and
Oh,
shit like that. Like
terrifying shit, man.
I mean,
like, can you imagine if that's someone that you love, whether it be your mother, your wife, your girlfriend, your sister, whoever it fucking is, right? Like, and that happens to them, I would personally, I'd have to sell my house. I'd have to kind of like, I'd move away from that particular area. I'd have to, change all my, everything.
I don't know.
With
I
my
do not know how witness protection works, but I'd probably look into it.
Extremely terrifying situation. And
Well, I guess
I'm
it's
really,
not even witness. It's,
I think we're all at Ono Wrestling, very happy that Sonya Deville is okay and Mandy Rose are okay, and we do not. We
are not pro kidnapping.
No.
Here at Ono
Yeah, or
Wrestling.
but also
or
we're
stalking.
a little bit more, and kind of what you were saying, Duncan, prior to that, is that we're anti super creepy fan, whether it be wrestling fan or rock and roll music fan or whatever it is. We've worked in the production industry. We have seen it firsthand with those creepy people.
People use the term stan to be a good thing, and I think everyone needs to go back and read the lyrics and listen to that song and watch the video, because
it's not a
being
good
stan
thing. No,
does not end up well.
And that's all I'm trying to say, is that I think, and we'd all agree, right, that Ono Wrestling is
100%
free of stans, at very least.
Yeah, we're marks, but we're not stans.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So Mandy
Big
Rose versus Sonya Deville, with all that said, in a hair versus hair match. Now, I could see both of them looking good with no hair.
Mandy Rose already got a haircut.
Mandy Rose did get a haircut, and I think that was meant to throw us off the trail. I think we're supposed to believe that Sonya Deville, being the lesbian's gonna get the haircut. No. I think Mandy Rose gets the buzz on Sunday. I'm going Sonya Deville wins that match. That's me personally. I think they want to push. I think there's more to push with Sonya Deville than there is Mandy Rose right now. That's the other reason.
I 100% think there's more to push. I could see
It's a tough one.
I could see Mandy doing it, but I think this is maybe how you also bring Otis back into the mix.
Good point.
So because of that, I'm gonna go. And also, this is like, I mean, you could take this clip and use it against me anywhere, but But I am gonna say, like, you don't technically see like non-lesbians with shaved heads a lot of the time. The majority of them do, like, not that they do have, but like they would more so go with that unless they're like fucking like punk rock or something, or like this weird hybrid of wook and hippie where they shave half their head.
Right.
Yeah.
And they boof like fucking Molly through their asshole or something.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say
nitrous balloons.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like it can make her hard. Like she would look real hard, I think.
Who, Mandy or Sonya Deville? You're saying
Sonya? I think she'd look real fucking
hard.
Yeah,
you might be right.
I think she'd look real fucking hard, and it would play into her fucking character.
Okay.
So I'm going Rose, and I'm going Mandy Rose, and I think there's a way that Otis, just as a comment to that Otis comes back into the picture.
Okay, all right, Duncan.
Yeah, I think I'm going Mandy Rose as well.
All right.
just because I think because Sonya Deville's been pushing the whole Daddy Deville thing. I think if she shaves her head and then starts doing like a buzz cut or something like that, it'll play way more into that character.
I think you're probably both right. I think that before this particular thing happened, this news story, I think that was the plan. But I think they've changed it. And I think they will capitalize on this, and that's why Sonya Deville will win the match.
How much of a bonus do you think Mandy Rose gets for shaving her head?
Probably nothing.
Okay.
I hope a lot.
$500, maybe.
I would say it's going to be more than that. At least $5K.
Okay, yeah, you might be right.
I bet it's probably $10K if they want her to shave her head.
Yeah, you might be right.
But I still think Mandy Rose.
Okay, so I'm going with Sonya Deville. You both are going with Mandy Rose. We'll then switch off to what is probably going to be one of the earlier matches on the show. The Street Profits versus Andrade, and Angel Garza with Zelina Vega.
I was like, Andre's back.
My bad. I'm sorry. It's a tag team match for the WWE Raw Tag Team Championship. After a bit of poisoning that we don't know specifically who that's from.
It was Zelina Vega.
Maybe. We don't know it. We don't know that.
Okay.
We don't know that for sure. I'm not 100% sold. I go back and forth with this one because I think that seriously, Andrade and Angel Garza would be great tag team championships champions, and I think that would be a really good place for them to both be and get a little bit of a highlight. But there's no way that they're going to sell as much merch as this fucking Street Profits. So, Street Profits it is for me. Matthew?
Andrade and Garza.
You're going with it. Oh.
I'm going with it. I think if you're going to do it at a big show like SummerSlam. Do it in the Thunderdome. And Bianca Belair will be ringside. There will be stuff with Zelina Vega. There's going to be some shit. But I think...
you think they pull it out, huh?
I mean, I think now is the time, and I think you do it on one of the big four. And I think because that can then establish, you can always go back to the Street Profits having it. And I think that they will. I agree in your sense. I 100% agree that they're going to sell more merch right now. But if you want to build actual tag teams and competitors and things like that that are not just going to get washed away, they've been building Andrade and Garza for a little while, not long, but a little while. They do have a little bit of hype behind them, and I'm hoping that this is the time that WWE pulls their heads out of their asses.
I would prefer that they win because I think it would be a good role for them. I just don't think that they will. So we're on the same page. I completely agree with you. I just don't think that they're going to bite that bullet.
Yeah, I'm going with my heart.
Okay, good for you. Duncan?
See, part of me is like, I want to go Andrade and Garza, but I'm like, how many Mexicans are they going to put over?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, on any given show. And then again, they could totally surprise me. I think the Profits have had the belts for a good little bit.
But they've had them longer than the Viking Raiders.
Right. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the Street Profits.
Okay.
I don't feel good about it.
Yeah, I'm not sold either.
You guys are both so fucked. This is the one that's going to let me win the belt.
Oh, it might be.
Is that the one?
It might be. It might be.
Both so fucked.
What about Apollo Crews versus MVP? I'm going Crews. I think he retains. I don't think MVP takes it back from him. Apollo Crews for me. There's no way. There's no way the Hurt Business is gonna take down Apollo Crews. Not after all this.
Well, Hurt Business.
Yeah,
Hurt
if there's a way I could care less
ringside.
about that match, I don't know what it would be, but I guess I'm gonna go Apollo Crews.
Going Apollo Crews as well. All right, Duncan. I give no fucks about this match. I could give so little fucks.
I know everyone is like so hyped on MVP too.
I'm not. He does nothing for me.
That's why I said like I could get like I'm. This match means absolutely fucking nothing.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah. And just because of that, I'm gonna go MVP.
All right, MVP, Duncan. Dude, watch you just like destroy us with all these different predictions.
I don't really think so, but.
So this is going to be interesting. Like I'm trying to like as I'm like looking at these matches, we've got I think 4 left. We might have more
5.
than that. 5 left. Sorry. I'm trying to think of what would be the obvious next match. I think it has to be one of the women's matches. We've of course got 2 women's matches on the card with both of them having Asuka in them. We've got Bayley with Sasha Banks versus Asuka, and then we've got Sasha Banks with Bayley versus Asuka. One for the Raw Women's Championship, one for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I think the logical thing in both of these, right, is to think that maybe Asuka would win one, but what if she doesn't? And this
Asuka
is
2 belts.
I think that is a huge possibility. So let's just go with. I think they'll probably do the Bayley match first. I think the Bayley Asuka match will come first for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Let's just go with it. Are we going with Asuka? We going with Bayley? I'm torn on this. I think if I'm predicting, because we'll just do the next one after the Sasha Asuka match, just to make it easy. Even though I don't think it'll come that way in the card. For me, I think that Bayley is going to beat Asuka, and then Asuka is going to beat Sasha. But it could easily be reversed. And
could also easily be not that.
Could easily be not that.
I'm going with Asuka. She's getting the biggest fucking push that she's had since she actually came to the roster.
Okay, so we're doing Asuka Bayley right now. That's just to make it clear. Asuka Bayley is the match that we're predicting right now.
Sure.
Are we picking?
Yeah, but I could give you both. Asuka's going to win both, and
you think Asuka's winning both? Okay.
I think Asuka's winning. I think she's going to win. I think she's going to win both. She's going to take both belts. They're going to still be the tag team champions, and then eventually, Lord knows how fucking long, because everyone has wanted Sasha versus Bayley for so fucking long. There's going to be a split. Who knows if there's something that happens within these 2 matches that is like the start of that happening, but there is going to be something eventually. But I think them retaining the women's tag team championships, holding on to those is the catalyst for that to actually happen.
Yep. Okay.
I don't think them having these other championships, and I think that she's going to take both because she's been getting the biggest push, and her winning one and not both, and them not having someone like Becky Lynch and Becky 2 belts, they want to do it with somebody else.
I don't think they're doing that. And I think that part of the catalyst will be once again when Asuka defeats Sasha. And so that Bayley has the belt. Bayley will defeat Asuka. Sasha will lose to Asuka, which the belt that she already stole from her. So Asuka will win the Sasha fight. We're doing almost two at once right now. I understand that, but it seems like it needs. I mean,
you're the only one that's picking.
I'm writing them, but I'm writing them down. So you're going with double Asuka as well.
I'm going double Asuka.
Gotcha. That makes it easier for me, but I didn't want to leave that out. I just think that it might be more to help set up the eventual, of course, Bayley-Sasha feud. I still think that might work a little bit better with having one of them with a major title, and that Sasha stole it, and now she's going to go after Bayley. So that's part of my reasoning for this.
And I mean, I get your reasoning. I just don't think that those two need a main headlining title feud. Like, they don't need the belt involved in order for them to have
Fair enough.
a grudge feud.
I think that Vince thinks that I agree with you. I just think that Vince thinks that they do, or someone in the WWE thinks that they do. Oh, what do we got? Because we did just do 2 matches at once, realistically. So we've got the Universal Championship and the the men's WWE Championship. That would be it, right?
And the street fight.
Yeah, and the street
Oh,
fight.
yes, I forgot that. Should we do the street? Let's do the street fight then next. Oh man. Ooh, okay. Dominic has to win it, right?
No, Seth Rollins is winning.
Dominic has to lose.
Dominic has to lose. He's fucking losing that shit.
Okay. All right. Who's predicting first then, 100%? Because I never said it was mine.
Rollins, I'll predict it.
You going Rollins? All right. Matthew's going Seth here. Sethy boy. I just called you Dominic, Duncan.
Dominic doesn't have the presence, despite like the pictures of the wounds from taking the 30 something, 31 or
I think Dominic. I think actually Dominic's gonna win with the help of Ray.
I just don't.
Ray is ringside. They've already said that, so I'm going Dom.
I think at SummerSlam, you don't fucking put Dom over.
No.
Whether Ray is there ringside or not.
Okay.
No,
thinking Big Four.
Okay.
Yeah, and also I think it's more likely that Ray would throw in the towel.
Yeah, that's a good call.
You know what I mean? And then you get
possibly
that
an
whole
eye.
Son.
He might throw an eye.
Yeah, he might just pop that out and toss it in.
All right, so you're going Seth too then.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm pulling my mulligan on that one and scratching out my Dom and putting in my Seth. That was my.
And you're tagging out.
Oh, that's your tag.
That was my
nice.
That was my tag. I think that's fair, right? I did it in enough time.
That's fair.
No, that's 100%. We hadn't moved on to the next prediction yet, so
I still don't know how this works. Anyway, then we got the last 2 matches. We got the Fiend versus Braun Strowman, which I think will come first. Do you think they'll do a straight up match, or is this going to be another cinematic?
I don't think it'll be full cinematic. I think it'll have
little bits,
some elements. Yeah, and I think especially because it's the Thunderdome, it'll be weird.
But they are going to be in the ring, I think, and there is going to be ring style wrestling. I think it's what's going to happen. If anything goes outside of that, I think it will be cinematic and pre-taped, or if the Fiend actually has Bray Wyatt has any sort of mind tricks, it will jump to that. We could see something.
I think you might be right. I think it has to be Bray Wyatt if they want to save the Fiend in this match. So I'm going to go Bray Wyatt. That's my personal thing. I can see that you're also destroying Braun a little bit with this if you don't have him win, but I think there's plenty of other stuff for him to do. I don't think that you need Bray to have the belt. I don't really want him with the belt. But in this situation, I kind of feel like you have to put it on him. Otherwise, it's... I don't know.
I really hate the fact that they keep putting the Fiend in the situation where he has to be in title matches.
Correct. I'm with you on that. I don't want it to be that case, but it just... I feel like you have to have him win this.
Is it 100% booked as the Fiend?
Yeah, I think it is.
It's booked as the Fiend Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, I mean it says it on Wikipedia, so there must have been something on programming that led it, to believe that. Matthew, what are you guessing? I know it goes because now we got Bald Strowman, by the way. We didn't even talk about bald. Like,
yeah,
he,
I don't.
he just
I don't
looks
like
like
talking
young
about-
Big Show now. Like, okay,
Yeah.
like, what are we doing?
I don't like talking about Braun
Or
anymore than I
or
have to.
Big Duncan, one of the two.
I also don't want it to happen, but I think he's gonna win.
You think Braun's gonna win, or Bray?
Braun.
You think Braun's gonna win? You going?
You
Braun?
just said Bray doesn't need a title.
Yeah, but I'm going with Bray. I think that they have to do that to
you
maintain
are.
the character. But okay, you're going with Braun. All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
I think they've started to prove they can do whatever the fuck they want with that character.
Yeah, that's kind of true too.
And I think that there could be some sort of fuckery that then makes his character more demonic, more dark, brings more to the Sister Abigail story or something like that, that he eventually comes back and totally obliterates him.
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen, but I just don't see, and I know this program is running long, and annoyingly long, at least for me, but I will say that I just don't see, like, I think you got to do like maybe it is time to do like a Fiend with a goddess.
I would be cool with like if they did it right, having that Alexa Bliss or something together. I would be cool with that. It just has to be done right, and I would like to see maybe like that trickery, like he's got in her head, or like maybe that throws off Braun so that he can beat him or something like that. They've been toying with this idea for a bit, but
I think they're gonna try and make like Bray is like, he is that like heel but also somewhat babyface, like just because people like love the Fiend so much and the things that they've been doing. Like Braun has been this, we've all known, fucking kind of character joke, like, you know. I think he needs to be a heel, and I think this might be the moment to make him a heel.
I don't know that he needs to be a heel. He needs to be serious. He needs to be taken off TV for a couple of weeks, come back and be a little tougher and be just a little more, serious is the right way. I don't know that he needs to be a heel. I think that he can still be a face, but I'm still going with Bray. You're going with Braun.
Make him a fucking monster again, and make him prove that
a real
he
monster
should be against the Fiend.
Yeah, maybe that will work. That could work. Duncan, how you feeling?
I hate both of these options.
I know that's
I
didn't book it, did I?
Well, no, it probably would have been better if you had, though.
Yeah, probably.
Because I wouldn't have.
Right. That's exactly it. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
have
exactly.
And this whole, like, why does the Fiend give a shit about the title? The Fiend doesn't need the title. Make the Fiend go back to being cerebral and fucking with people's minds.
But he cares about Braun. Like, there's a reason for him to at least care about Braun. Like, he doesn't care about the title, but he doesn't care about...
Yeah, okay.
Like, maybe that's what we should be focusing on. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. That's all.
Maybe, but like, look, my gut says to go with the Fiend, but I just don't think they're ready to take the belt off of fucking Braun yet.
Yeah.
I feel like for some reason Braun is still a draw to people, so I'm gonna go Braun. Say they're gonna bury the Fiend.
Okay. All right.
And that Alexa Bliss as a fucking, you know what I mean? Like, Alexa Bliss is going to have something to do with it, and but Braun will have gotten to her, and it will backfire on Bray, and then Bray loses the...
You know what? You make a really good point there, and I probably would take away my, like, last, like, thing. I would probably change.
You would undo.
Yeah. I would probably, use my mulligan here on this one, because it does make sense in a way. Like you said, Bray doesn't need the belt. There's plenty of stuff that he can do, and is kind of invincible because of his marketing power with the Fiend. So that he doesn't need the title. Braun needs it more than him. You guys are probably right. This is where I more than likely lose all of it. So we've got the one last match, and that's Randy Orton versus the current champion Drew McIntyre. We talked about this earlier. This one's hard. Like, it's harder than I thought it would be. I literally wanted to think that Drew would carry it through this year.
It's not hard for me.
It's not hard for me either.
I'm saying Drew retains. Him beating Randy Orton cements him as a top guy, someone who beat a legend, a living legend who is still in the ring. And you can continue that feud, and you could still have matches in the future if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. But I think that reasoning, if you want to keep Drew strong and you want to cement him as a top guy, as part of the younger generation, you have to have
him beat
Randy. And we saw in that greatest wrestling match ever. I mean, how could I forget? It was the greatest wrestling match ever. I didn't think that I'd ever see another wrestling match after that. But it was an amazing match with Randy Orton and Edge, and I think that this will be a fucking good match, and I think it's going to showcase that Drew can work, and I think he will win. And he could eventually lose to Randy Orton down the line, but I don't think it's right now. He didn't get his entire WrestleMania moment. In the Thunderdome, I don't think he's going to fucking drop it. I think he needs to cement himself by beating someone like Randy Orton in order to say he is here to fucking stay and is a top guy.
I think they're foolish if they don't do exactly what you're talking about, but I can see them going the other way and I've gone back and forth on this because I can also see how they might think it's a draw to have Randy Orton kind of come through, and then you've got Payback, and then that draw, like you can have like a thing there if they want to. But if
this is the one that could fuck me, because that makes sense, is that like Randy Orton beats him and then McIntyre wins,
takes it back at Payback. Like, I don't think that happens though, and I'm gonna go. You're going Drew. I'm going Drew too. I'm gonna go Drew McIntyre. Duncan,
Le Champion.
Oh,
the last prediction for the champion.
Le prediction.
This one has been the tough one, because from minute one, I'm just like, Orton is gonna win this.
Oh, I've thought it too. I mean, they've been building towards it looking like that for sure.
Yeah, but then it's just like, who does Randy go after next? Mm-hmm. And if Randy takes the title, what do you do with it? Does Drew just take it back in a month or a week or whatever? Like, that doesn't seem to build anything for me.
The problem is that Randy has nothing. The problem is that
there's fuckery with Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels makes it so Drew retains at SummerSlam. Randy takes it at fucking Payback.
Might be. That might be a better call.
Or it's what I thought originally, and Shawn and Randy are in cahoots.
Ooh, it's dirty. That feels dirty. I don't like it.
It does feel dirty.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I just got goosebumps.
But what if?
What if?
Because he's a dirty son of a bitch, and he took out
that barbershop window, motherfucker. You know what's going on.
That's what I'm saying. Fuck.
You gotta call it, dude. You gotta
Drew,
call
Drew,
it. You're going Drew.
You're going Drew.
We're all going Drew
because it does establish him. It makes him a bigger threat. It makes him more of a credible player, especially because Randy isn't going to be around full time forever. So you need big workers that can put in main event quality matches with main event quality stars. And I think Drew has that capability.
I 100% agree with Duncan.
Yeah, I do
think
too.
It kind of goes with what we were talking about earlier with if you look at like bringing old talent back as draws and things like that, I think, we've talked about it before with COVID and not having fans. It's a time that no one could have ever imagined in necessarily the world, and especially wrestling. But like, so right now, the stars that you are building, you need to build them and keep them, which is again why I went Asuka and like things like I made these off of like judgment calls that I feel like in the general world, not necessarily just the wrestling world, but the outside world, also playing a part in that. And the fact that like you don't have these fans things, you need to have these, like if you just give everything to the people who've been around, then you're just watching the same shit. But if you keep those people interacting with these champions and having feuds, I think you're keeping people entertained while building these stars who are eventually going to take over, and it makes it stronger.
That's pretty well put, to be honest with you. I think we can all agree with that. And there are your predictions for SummerSlam. Those are done. It'll be an interesting Sunday to see how those roll. Before we get out of here, I want to say congratulations to Shotzi Blackheart for finding her car with her wrestling gear in it. That was really good to see that the police found her stolen car. That was nice.
Yeah.
And
it was nice that Triple H put together a new helmet for her, but still hasn't reached out to Velveteen Dream's accuser. That was pretty nice of him.
Yeah, how crazy is that?
Priorities.
And
That's true.
And then we'll go one step further.
Sometimes you turn your page on your to-do list and you forget there were things on the previous page, and you're like, oh shit! Like 3 months later,
should have done that one.
Should have done that.
Whoopsie daisies. You know what though? We should probably do that's on a page that's a few pages back. We should definitely get Lars Sullivan back in action. That's a thing that we all need and want. It sounds like he's.
I was just like, is he gonna
Isn't
play
he like
shitty
fucking
drums
dudes
again?
on Reddit?
Lars Sullivan, man. Like, yeah, we all thought that. Like, how did this guy avoid all the firings? Like that happened. How did he stay?
Yeah.
He's going to just show up and they're going to repackage him as Heidenreich 2.0.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it wouldn't be too far from kayfabe, would it? Or
Not really.
So.
Not really. I will say it's interesting that...
fucking dickhead. Fuck that guy. Let's just go ahead and say it. Fuck that guy.
Yeah.
What, Lars Sullivan?
Yes.
Yeah. Like I said,
he's a twat.
He's probably getting fucked on Reddit. But
that's a good point.
in video.
Good for him.
He's getting fucked,
It's
doing gay porn, and then calling other people homos.
And
for doing
yeah, that's the problem I have. I don't have a problem with anyone being gay or fucking doing gay porn or anything like that. I have zero problem with you. Fucking you. I like literally could care less. Like as long as you're
call
fucking,
other people's homos about doing it.
Don't then fucking call someone up for the shit that you actually did and fucking hate on it. Like,
and he might beat me up, but whatever. I'm okay with that.
Who gives a shit?
He could beat you up, but I don't think he will.
But also, really quickly,
no, he'll do some other things to this.
Yeah, are you
Nobody's
cutting
doing
your shirts
anything.
in the middle?
Have
you moved past the sleeves and you're now cutting in the middle? Is that what's happening?
When you went,
I did AJ Styles where you gotta do the thing.
Yeah,
right
you
here.
wear
show
a
the
youth.
chest.
You wear a youth small. It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
It's choking
yeah,
me. It's choking me.
It's choking you.
Look at my pecs and stuff. You see?
Yeah. Damn. Have you been doing push-ups?
Oh, all of them. All of them.
Yeah.
He's been thinking about them.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about them. That's actually better than doing them. I've heard.
It's actually better.
I will say also, as we're talking about Lars Sullivan and shit, the AEW did release some people, Jimmy Havoc being one of them.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that. That's I think that we don't
need to dig into all of it, but I just wanted to throw that out there. We all knew that was kind of coming.
Yeah, I think it's more than the speak out movement with him. Like he's
an asshole.
Yeah, I think he's got a lot of alcohol and drug issues. So I think that's more or less probably why they let him go. I mean, but
Like, he got into a fight with Excalibur at the fucking presser for the announcement.
Speaking of Excalibur, when do you think he's coming back?
Oh, man.
month. Give him a month.
30
Yeah.
days.
Yep, give him a month. He'll be back.
Yeah.
No worries.
He'll probably be back for, what do you think it is, All Out? All Out?
Yeah, he'll be back on All Out.
All Out's like a 2-week event on TNT, which I
No, it
No,
isn't.
that's the.
No, it
old-
isn't.
that's
You're
the-
wrong.
That's 2019's.
They're
All Out.
playing 2019 All Out on
That's what it
YouTube.
is.
Like, everybody's confused about that. They announced in, like, they wanted to
They
put
didn't
something
do a very
on.
good job. of
No, they
announcing.
didn't. But if you actually read it, it does say what they're doing.
I don't believe in reading, sir.
They
Reading
were
is
like,
for
yeah,
sissies.
they wanted to put something out, instead of Dynamite on Wednesday. Of course, Dynamite's coming out on Saturday. So they said on these weeks when all this is happening, we're going to, for free, put on our YouTube last year's All Out as a pay-per-view, just to kind of like, hey, if you want to watch it or whatever. All Out is still going to be a pay-per-view event that comes out in 3 weeks, I believe it is. So that'll be
I think September
16 days, 20 hours, 45 minutes, and 4 seconds, according to Fight
Whoa,
TV.
whoa.
What are you talking about? What? What
Oh,
are you saying?
I'm just
it was the
literally
countdown.
watching the. I'm
Oh,
literally
you're watching the
live-
countdown
the live
to
countdown on Fight TV.
The other fuck down. All right, yeah.
Yeah, countdown to All Out Town.
You know what? I do karate shit, so all you guys can fuck off, because I'm doing karate shit over here. And it's time we wrap up. It's time to wrap up this goddamn episode. It's a lot of fun, motherfuckers. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another edition of the Oh No Wrestling podcast. Please check out everything to do with Oh No Wrestling, our Facebook page, our group. Just type in Oh No Wrestling on Facebook. It's pretty goddamn simple. You know what else you can do is you can find these two handsome gentlemen, my buddies Matthew and Duncan, over at NobodyCaresGoHarder.com. And wherever you find Nobody Cares Go Harder in podcasts, you just type that in. Nobody Cares Go Harder. And then, while I'm at it, let's be real. The Ono Radio Show's doing some fucking fine things over there. OnoRadioshow.com, of course, and wherever you find those. Yeah, again, type it in. It's on your YouTubes. We're putting all these on your YouTubes. Whether it's Ono Wrestling, type that in. Whether it's Ono Radio Show, type that in. Or Ono Media. You can leave us voicemails for both the wrestling podcast and the regular show over at 407-906-6466. And I'm gonna go ahead and have to promote something very special on the Ono Radio Show, because if you'd like to see a friend of ours named Mikey B eat a lot of onions, you can go ahead and donate, making him suffer.
Is that finally happening?
Oh,
First
it's
week of
coming
September,
up.
my
First
friend.
week. Yep.
We can donate to have Mikey eat various either bites of onions,
Yep.
or whole onions, or
all the onion choices.
Good thing I've been working during this pandemic.
Yeah. Just go to onoradioshow.com, and if you want to get the full list, there's a donate link off to the right-hand side or left-hand side, depending on what unit you're using. But on the left, you'll see a little thing. It's a little button that says donate. You'll click that button, and it'll give you, before you even have to put your credit card information in, of course, it'll give you all the information of how you get us some money so that we can make our friend raise some money for us by eating onions.
and being less of a failure at it than Ty.
Hey, that's what we. I know this man. He's got a lot of
He's been prepping though.
Oh yeah, he has.
He's got some gumption.
He does have gumption. What do we say when we get out of here, boys? Woo! Too sweet, brothers. See you next week.
Next time.
Pork Chop Jones.
Woo!